Radio Jordan, Mullewa game day, and we're your home with all your free and garden and for round 7 and City in colour for the Community Bank Geraldton GNFL Premiership season. And today live from Northampton's Percher International Oval with the home side hosting Mullewa as both chase their first win of the season. In earlier games today, with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirrawee War, the members 8 goals, 149, and looking at a 69-point win there to the Mullewa Saints. In the reserves, the game just concluded. Northampton, 21 goals, 10, 136, defeated Mullewa 117, 129 points the margin. And, of course, no women's game today because Mullewa have no women's footballers. Northampton women have a break. At Daimler Trucks Greenock Oval today, undefeated Rovers host Chapman Valley in the league game. That game getting away shortly. And in the Colts today, Chapman Valley have started the game well. Chapman Valley 22-11, 143, have defeated Rovers 1-4-10, 133 points the margin. In the reserves, Chapman Valley 7 goals, 6-48, defeated Rovers 3 goals straight, 18. That's a 30-point margin. And looking at the women's game, Chapman Valley 17 goals, 11, have defeated Rovers 1 behind, so 113 points the margin there in favour of Chapman Valley. So Chapman Valley, the work ahead of them up against the highly fancied Rovers in the league game. Our Dreadnought Mallee Motors game day, as I mentioned, is here at Northampton, Percher International Oval. Northampton and Mullewa both looking for their opportunities today. And there is a game, the last game of the round gets underway at WA Country Builders Stadium at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And Towns hosting Brigades. And in the Colts, in early games today, Brigades 10-6, 66, defeated Towns 3-1, 19, 47 points the margin. The reserves game is underway. We'll give you the final scores there shortly because the women game at Wanthella gets underway in a couple of minutes as well. So a big day of football. And as always, we welcome our long-time commentator on Radio Mama, your home of GNFL football, Pete Forenza. G'day, Peter.
Yeah, Glenn, it's a beautiful day here out at Northampton today. Of course, always lovely after we have some rain, isn't it? Some rain is also forecast later this week. We're talking to one of our friends, the Box family, and 55 mils they had on their property.
Yeah, lovely. And I saw also to Brad Burns, whose son plays, Luke Burns, and he's had a lot of good rain too, so he was pretty happy. And he said he's had about 38 mils, so that's very good news for people. We do know it is still quite warm, so there may be some rain coming up. The windsock hardly blowing. It's blowing across the ground, but beautiful conditions after last weekend's blustery storm. Of course, we were in Kalbarri last weekend and saw Railways get over the top of the Northampton side in a pretty entertaining game, particularly after quarter time. A 25-point margin in favour of Railways. Our GNFL umpires this afternoon for Sandra Carr, MLC. Umpires Paul Brown and Spencer Roberts doing the job this afternoon. Umpire Brown puts the ball into the air.
Limp at the moment, not affecting either end of the ground. It's the ball coming out of defence now. Northampton able to bottle it in or block it. The boundary. So, Glenn, not a bad crowd here today, but probably not the best that we've had so far this year because our crowds have been pretty good so far, haven't they?
They have, as Jamie Williams, who was in good form last week for the Rams, gets it up towards half forward, looking up there for a teammate. Ball very close to the boundary line, and the ball bounces away from Jackson Rayner. And there'll be a boundary throw-in about 20 metres around from the Malcolm Gould scoreboard here. Of course, the scoreboard is the TMS scoreboard, Technical Maintenance Services, one of Northampton's major sponsors in the opportunity to bring the first score up this afternoon on the TMS scoreboard. So Mullewa's lateral Riley is the man, and he's shooting on goal. He's only a relatively small player, wears the orange boots, but runs hard, kicking towards the golf club end or the southern end of Northampton Oval. Magnificent conditions for football, and lateral Riley has got it straight through the centre, and Mullewa will get the first score on the board on the TMS scoreboard. Mullewa will go to 1 goal straight. Northampton yet to score, and we've played 2.5 minutes in this first term with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton.
You're listening to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football. Peter Forenza and Glenn Barndon bringing you all the action from Percha International Oval this afternoon, and first goal on the board going the way of Mullewa. So going against the flow of play somewhat then. Most of the play early in this game has been at the northern end, but Mullewa against the grain have scored, and we've got a score on the board early. Remembering neither of these teams have points for season 2026 at this stage. As the ball comes back out of the middle again, Mullewa doing well through the guise of this youngster in Isaiah Simpson onto his boot into the half-forward area. And playing with a bit of toe at the moment are Mullewa. A nice mark is taken inboard. It looks like it is a Wall that has taken it. I think it is. We'll just double check.
Yeah,
yes,
Kelvin.
It's Kelvin Wall. We can tell by the stance and the disposition. This guy knows a thing or two. It's Kelvin Wall. Wearing number 8. He'll kick just outside the centre square, kicking to the southern end. It's a nice kick. It's a straight kick. And it's straight through the middle. Mullewa will have 2 goals on the board then, and they're off on a pretty good start in this Drennan O'Malley game day.
Very nice start indeed. It's been a long time since Mullewa have kicked so many goals so quickly. In 4 minutes, they've got 2 goals, one to lateral Riley and one to Kelvin Wall. So a youngster and a more veteran player getting the goal. So a very good start. And we know you can't give Mullewa too much of a sniff when they have an opportunity, because they will take things to full extent. So it's important now that we find that Northampton settle and get the ball going their way.
Ball back in the middle now, and Mullewa scoring the last 2 goals. The only 2 goals so far in this encounter. They are 12 points to Northampton. You have to open their account. The ball coming out to the wing now. It's picked up by Isaiah Simpson again, getting a bit of ball early. He sent it into the half-forward area. Players running backward and forth. Northampton defence under pressure. The whistle sounds. The ball moves on. No advantage paid on that occasion. The ball come back the way of Northampton. Looks like young Gus Spalding has the ball on the half-back flank. He'll kick down the wing now, just in front of our broadcast position. Players setting themselves. Up they go. Almost a nice mark is taken as the ball comes down. Brodie Atkinson is the player in question. He didn't take the mark. The ball goes to ground. A bit of a push and shove. The umpire says no prior opportunity. He gathers the ball and throws it up once again. Just in front of the clubhouse here, well, the country club here at Northampton. The ball goes the way of Christian Wright. He put encounter as they get the ball back inside the corridor. Running forward, players running onto it. They've got a bit of room in front of them as a player in Blurton sends it forward. The mark is taken by Kelvin Wall. He shuffles a check side kick, and that's the 3rd goal in succession. And gee, Mullewa have come to play today, Glenn.
Yes, they see the opportunity, and Kelvin Wall up forward is getting a lot of the ball, but it was a good run forward there. Ball came through. Kalen Sealander got the ball quickly there. And we find Kelvin Wall with 2 goals, and we have lateral Riley with 1 goal. That's the situation as we look at the scoreboard for TMS scoreboard. That is Technical Maintenance Services. They're the award-winning company who sponsor Northampton. And we see the score now, Mullewa, 3 goals straight, 18. Northampton yet to open their account. 2 other games happening today. At the moment, there's a game at Daimler Trucks Greenock Oval between Rovers and Chapman Valley. And there's a game starting at 4 o'clock this afternoon between Towns and Beautiful umpires this afternoon, Paul Brown and Spencer Roberts. Ball goes out wide, goes the way of Mullewa, and that is Shane Bonney. Shane Bonney kicks it up towards centre wing, looking up there for lateral Riley. Letty, waiting for the Mullewa player to receive some treatment. Well, he's received some treatment, now he's waiting for some medical treatment. And the player is on the far side of Northampton Oval. The Oval's looking beautiful, breeze blowing directly across the ground in this round 7 encounter. Doing it today for City in Colour, one of the GNFL sponsors. Both umpires are waiting for the player to be looked after. Looks like he may have an ankle problem. And looks like they will...
So the game is stopped at this stage, Glenn, so he can be attended to.
That is the situation. Let's quickly look at what is happening in other games today and what happened in earlier games today, with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirrily War, the member for Geraldton. In the Colts, it was Mullewa, 17-16, 118. Defeated Northampton, 8 goals, 149. In the reserves, Northampton, 21 goals, 10, 136. Defeated Mullewa, 117. As we see the Mullewa trainers and the Northampton trainers getting that player off the ground. That's a bit of a blow to Mullewa. Lateral Riley has kicked a goal. He was very much prominent in the other goal as well. So it's disappointing. He's coming off. Let's hope they can re-strap his ankle and get him back on the ground.
Yeah,
so
18 points. 3 goals straight, Mullewa, Glenn. It's midway to later in the first term, and Northampton yet to open their account as the game resumes.
It does, as we see Paletti get the ball straight up the ground, looking up there for a teammate in Grady Tomelty. Ball slapped away from him. Shane Bonney on half back, still on that far side. They seem to like that far side this afternoon. That's the direction the wind is blowing at a reasonable rate, but nothing of any great consequence. Beautiful conditions for footy.
Yeah,
ground looking lovely.
Across the ground, Glenn, from
yeah, it is.
Well, some movement forward with Stratton. He was quickly set upon. Gee, Northampton. About to have a shot on goal, and that is Big Callum. And he will have a shot on goal, and that is Callum Teakle. So Callum Teakle right behind him, Glenn. So they need a goal early to stop the bleeding, so to speak. They're 3 goals down to 0. Callum Teakle kicking to the southern end, breathes slightly across his face. Let's see what he can do. He's done all right. I think. No,
the breeze
you
grabbed
can
it.
see what the breeze is like this afternoon. Grabbed it in the final stages of that kick and only took it through for the minor score.
Well,
So, alas, they don't score yet.
And, Peter, as you said, it looked pretty good for about 90% of the journey. And just the final grab, it went the other way. As Mullewa bring the ball out of defence, Caelan Sealander has the ball. He's been amongst Mullewa's best so far in this quarter. Gets it up the ground. Looking up there for Kelvin Wall Jr., that is. And a pack develops. And umpire Spencer Roberts will come in and throw the ball up. On centre wing, clubroom side. 2 umpires in control this afternoon. Ball goes up, goes the way of Jake Criddle for Northampton. Wins it to ground. Mullewa will go in to retrieve the ball, but Northampton show good coverage. Comes back towards Criddle. He goes by hand, gets it out towards teammate there in Canny. Luke Canny gets the ball up the ground. Canny goes back in and retrieves it. Get rid of it just in the nick of time. Ball slapped forward. Runs the way of Tristan Taylor. Tristan Taylor goes to pick up the ball. Ball comes back, goes the way of Christian Wright. And Christian Wright gets caught in possession, tries to break the tackle. And Christian Wright pays the penalty. And Sam Lawson, another of the Kelbarry contingent, I would think. There goes Sam Lawson. Played well up in Kelbarry last week. Gets the ball forward, looking up there for Brodie Atkinson. But Mullewa will do well, and Mullewa will come out of defence, and they get it to the player there, Nathaniel Simpson. Nathaniel, probably the smallest player on the ground, gets the kick forward to one of the biggest players on the ground in Jake Criddle. Jake Criddle on centre wing, centres the ball now, finds Jamie Williams, goes back to Lawson, goes back towards Canny, and Canny is tackled illegally, and the free kick will go the way of the Northampton player there in Luke Canny, and a 50-metre penalty. Mullewa player had something to say, and the umpire says, no, you can't do that, and we use a 50-metre penalty. So the ball goes from centre wing to 30 metres out, and Northampton have the opportunity to get a goal on the board, and it's with the hard-running player there in Luke Canny, who deserves it. He's worked hard in this quarter. There goes Canny's kick. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's a goal.
Goal umpire signals all clear, and Northampton get their first of the afternoon on the TMS scoreboard. Northampton go to 1-1. They lead their opposition this afternoon, who are 3 goals.
So a much-needed goal there for Northampton as we get into the middle to latter stages of the first term. And up until now, Mullewa have been dominating the game, getting off to a pretty quick start with 3 quick goals in succession. But now starting to peg their way back, the Rams. That goal was a pretty good one by Luke Canny after an early attempt by his captain in Callum Teakle. Back in the middle now. Brennan O'Malley Game Day. This is Community Bank Geraldton Quarter. The only bank that is face-to-face and open on a Saturday morning. So if you went in there today, the girls would love to have seen you. If you're thinking about and don't have time during the week, Saturday morning you can head to Community Bank, Glenn, and that's a pretty good opportunity, isn't it? So back in the middle now, players setting themselves. Umpire waiting. Up they go, and it's the youngster in Criddle that knocks it straight down the throat of Caddy onto his boot into the full forward area. That was pretty slick out of the middle. A player runs onto it, is pushed in the back, right in the front of goal. He'll get a shot only about 10 metres out, and that was Brodie Atkinson. But that was a nice slap down by the youngster in Criddle, Glenn. Caddy quickly roved it from the bottom of the pack, able to pick it up, get it down, and Brodie Atkinson almost took the mark, was pushed in the back, and now we'll finish off with a goal. And suddenly things are evening up as he puts it through the middle. We've got a game in our hands here at Perth International Oval.
Yeah, a good comeback from Northampton, but as we mentioned, the breeze is of no consequence. It's blowing directly across the ground from the clubroom side and to the Ram Pavilion side, so the breeze not of any consequence on the ground to that extent. But on the scoreboard for TMS now, Technical Maintenance Services, we find Mullewa 3 goals straight 18, Northampton 2-1 13, so it's a 5-point ball game as we head to 17 minutes in this first term for Community Bank Geraldton. Very entertaining game of football so far, both sides going at it, good spirit, both sides trying to get their first premiership season points for the year. Ball comes away. Once again, Jake Criddle slaps the ball down. Northampton under pressure. It's well picked up there by the young Mullewa player in Jaden Wall. Ball eventually spills out. In goes the Mullewa player trying to slap the ball forward. Ball's on half forward now for Mullewa. They do well through Leadham Papertalk. Gets it up the ground. Goes the way of the hard-running player in Sealander. Sealander goes by hand. Gets it to a teammate. The ball's centred now. And a good bit of play there from Mullewa. They steady things down and they go forward through Kendall Blurton. Kendall Blurton received the ball there from Keegan Simpson. But they go deep into the forward line and into the forward pocket. And the ball will be brought back into play by the boundary umpire about 15 metres around from the right point post, the golf club end in this first term here at Northampton Oval. Percher International Oval, as it's well known for and has been for a long time. But the umpire has to come in. Umpire comes in, umpire Roberts, and he'll throw the ball up once again. So, can Mullewa get a goal? Well, they have it deep in their attacking zone. Jamie Williams doing his best to control it for Northampton. Ball spills. Comes the way of Mullewa now. In goes Kenny. In goes Holmes. His kick comes forward, and Mullewa have it through Isaiah Simpson.
Getting a few possessions this afternoon, this fella, Glenn. Likely customer, Isaiah Simpson, just forward of the wing area. He sends it inboard over the top of a couple of players. Nice mark is taken by Luke Canny. He's been influential up front and down back. He kicks to the outer side. It's all Northampton out there as they get a bit of a run on down the pavilion side of the ground. Oh, kicks into the man on the mark. That was unlucky after a nice passage of play. Mullewa will do well, though. They did well to spoil that as they sent it back inboard. And the mark is now taken by Morris Cum again. Now, he doesn't miss too many, but he goes laterally and finds this fella again. And it is the fella that we've been talking about, Isaiah Simpson, I think it is, that took the mark. And Isaiah will now have a shot. So Isaiah Simpson getting the most possession so far that I've seen, especially for Mullewa, that's for sure. So he'll now have a shot. He's just outside the centre square, kicking to the southern end. It's a nice kick by Isaiah. Is it going to sneak through? Yes, it has. And that's the fourth goal of the afternoon. And just when you thought they were finding their mojo, Northampton, Mullewa have popped up again in the guise of Isaiah Simpson, and he scores a goal for Mullewa. That takes them to 4 straight goals, and they lead Northampton 2-1.
Yeah, they're an amazing side, Mullewa. They kick the first 3, then they go off the boil for a couple of minutes, and then they come back. They just keep coming back to the centre, and they go again. So they have lost some games this year against some very good sides, but they kick around 9-10 goals against good sides. So they'll be looking to do something like that today.
Attack is their defence, isn't it?
It is. There's no defence. There is just all attack. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Northampton playing well at the moment, still in touch, and certainly well and truly in this contest as we see by Kristen Wright. Kristen Wright, the young man, comes out towards clubroom side, looking out there for the veteran. But Luke Canny, he's good to see him back in good form, coming back from a pretty serious injury a few years ago. Gets it forward, picked up by a Mullewa player there who does well and get it forward. And Karam Aitken, he gets it up towards half forward, looking up there for Staniszewski, but the ball goes across the boundary line. And the boundary umpire will come and throw the ball in, just in front of the Mullewa coach's box, which is on the wing or on the half forward line. So we're still in the forward line for Mullewa. Just forward of centre. Goes the way now of the Northampton player in Grady Tomerley. He has a good tackle put on him. And the umpire comes in to throw the ball up. And we're into time on in this first term with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton.
Mullewa win the tap, and that passage of play goes to ground. But Northampton do the better, or do they? Mullewa player quickly gets it in the guise of Jaden Wall. Straight down the middle it goes, and easily picked up by Anthony Little. And he takes a nice mark, and he's only about 25 to 30 metres out. He'll kick from almost directly in front. We can see from where we are, he has a clear view of the big sticks. So our big sticks here at Northampton. And he will kick now to the southern end. Let's see what he can do. Anthony Little. He doesn't kick it too well, but he sees a fella on the lead. Northampton defence do the better, though. They quickly get it out of danger to the outer side. Going out
is out from goal, shooting towards the high school end, the district high school end. There goes a kick from Tristan Taylor, I should say, and Tristan Taylor gets it through for a minus score on the TMS scoreboard. Northampton 2-2-14, Mullewa 4 goals straight. Same amount of scoring opportunities, but Mullewa have been very, very efficient. Ball to come out through Zach Papertalk, the fullback. Kicks it straight up the ground, up towards set. Goes out wide, looking for Kingsley Smith. Kingsley Smith with a short pass, looking there for the hard-running Tyler Caddy. Caddy breaks a tackle on centre wing, out of side, kicks it towards full forward, and in goes the player, Luke Burns. Couldn't put a handle on it. Ball spills out the back, goes the way of Keegan Simpson. He gives it to Wright. Wright gives it to Papertalk. Papertalk gives it away to Jaden Wall. Back to
down the middle. Mark isn't taken, but Mullewa almost still the. He's in control out there as he brings it back now, and it is Groundhog Day. So the player plays on laterally now, so it slowed things down. Northampton had a bit of a run on. Ball going the way of the Rams as they send it forward. Nice mark is taken on the half-forward flank now, and that is Brody Atkinson. So Brody Atkinson will now have a shot on goal. He's already had one this afternoon from this side of the ground.
And he took the last mark from just there a few moments ago. I called him Grady, but it was
Brody Atkinson. Yep. Yeah. So Brody Atkinson, nice kick from about 40 metres, coming in short. And, well, it was just a little bit too short, off hands, and taken through by the defender for the minor score.
TMS scoreboard, and Northampton at 2-3-15. A trail Mullewa, 4 goals straight, 24. Time running out. Can Northampton get a very important goal just prior to quarter time? There goes Kingsley Smith. He's usually good at these situations. Shoots towards goal, but the Mullewa player has marked it. And the umpire said, yeah, it stands. And the ball goes the way of Braith Stratton, the Carnarvon boy. He gets it for Melly Motors game day. Very entertaining game indeed. And at quarter time, Mullewa a 4 goals straight, 24. They lead Northampton 2-3-15. And you're tuned to Radio Mama, your home of GNFL football.
Live on Radio Mama, it's your GNFL match of the day. Thanks to Drennan O'Malley Motors.
At Daimler Trucks Greenock Oval, Rovers are 2 goals 2-14. They lead Chapman Valley 1 goal 2-8. So that's the score there at Greenock Oval this afternoon. As we see the ball comes along the outer side, picked up by Mullewa. They give the ball back, goes backwards to go forwards, goes the way of Kendall Blurton. He goes back out wide, looking out there for Callian Sealander. Sealander goes up the ground, but the ball's cut off by Jaden Paletti. He plays on by hand. Comes back to Northampton player there in Lockie Teakle. Ball comes back again. This time they go forward, and it goes the way of the half forward there in Callum Teakle. Teakle a long way for goals. Runs around the man who has to stand on the mark. Kicks the ball forward, but only as far as Mullewa. The Mullewa defenders stand up. Ball comes out. Comes the way of Leadham Papertalk. He can't mark the ball. Puts good pressure on the Northampton player, Cohen Fletcher. And the umpires this afternoon doing a great job for Sandra Carr MLC. GFL umpires Paul Brown and Spencer Roberts.
Coming out of a passage of play, goes away now. The player in Spalding wastes no time in putting it onto his boot. A nice kick by Spalding in the end. And the mark is taken by Sam Lawson. In fact, it's taken by Luke Burns. I apologise, Lukey. So Luke Burns will have a shot on goal now. So obviously this is perhaps the scoring end, Glenn, although the breeze would not indicate that it is. But that's where most of the goals are coming from, as we see Luke Burns now kicking to the southern end. Well, right behind him from a broadcast position here from the Country Club at Perch International Oval. In he comes now, Luke Burns. It's not a bad kick. It's going to go far too far to one side, though, one would think. He got the distance, but not the accuracy.
It was a good kick, but just lost a bit of accuracy. But like we've seen, the wind certainly has an impact on the goal scoring this afternoon.
It's going across the ground, coming from a northwesterly direction, which means, Glenn, that weather is probably on its way.
And it's pretty much a perfect day for football. There's no doubt about that.
Lovely conditions.
Interesting situation. So good games being played today. We have this one, which is fourth side, the fifth side playing the sixth side. We've got the game between the top side Rovers playing the third side Chapman Valley. And the game gets underway at 4 o'clock this afternoon. If you want to see a good game of footy as well at WA Country Builders Stadium, Towns hosting Brigades. That'll be a good contest as well. So 3 great games for round 7 for the GNFL, Community Bank, Geraldton, and of course this round for City in colour.
And this quarter brought to you by Melissa Price, a member for Durack. Glenn, she'll be helping me and my co-host Nikki DeFore at the Platform Markets tomorrow for Friends on Sunday.
Oh, very nice. So it'll be a lovely day there. I think the weather is expected to come in later tomorrow in Geraldton. So you might get a few showers late in the morning, late in the afternoon.
She loves a bit of Bruce Springsteen, so hopefully we don't just keep playing Bruce Springsteen the whole morning, Glenn.
Okay, so she bring her own music, is she?
Yes, she does.
iPod shuffle. Ball comes the way of Northampton. Ball bounces away from them. Mullewa trying to get the ball out of the danger zone. Ball comes forward again, but once again the Mullewa defence standing tall. Good bit of play there. Ball comes out wide, and Isaiah Simpson is the player. Grabs the ball, kicks it forward. Beautifully taken by Leadham Tapertalk Senior. Leadham gets a big ball kick up towards Kelvin Wall, and Kelvin Wall Senior has taken a mark about 50 metres out. Plays on, centres the ball. 2 Mullewa players there, bounces through both of them, and that would disappoint Kelvin Wall. But the Mullewa players go back in and retrieve it. Comes back to the smallest player on the ground. He does well, young Nathaniel. He gets the ball forward, gets it away to a teammate, but it's picked up by Cam Holmes, and Cam Holmes goes out wide and finds Tyler Caddy. So the senior players of both clubs keeping their club in the ground.
Yeah, Holmes goes is holding up his end, isn't he?
He is. Luke Burns takes the mark in the centre of the ground. Burns plays on quickly, kicks it up towards half forward, looking up there for the hard-running Jaden Bellotti. But the ball is held to him, no prior opportunity. Good tackle put on by Christian Wright, and the umpire Roberts comes in to throw the ball up.
He does so, and the ball goes down the throat of that player in Jaden Moore. There's balls everywhere this afternoon, a bit of a wall of Mullewa players as the ball comes out of a passage of play there into space. Running onto it is the play there in to try and do well as Stephen Carnamar is quickly bottled up or grabbed and thrown down. Goes away now of this player for Northampton, and that's Jamie Williams. He sends it further afield, but straight down the throat of his opposite number in Leadham Paper Talk. Leadham, the veteran, kicks across laterally to the outer side now, on the pavilion side of the ground. It goes away now of Kendall Blurton. Blurton into the half-forward area, or does he? He kicks it further afield, though. Down the wing, intended for no one in particular, and finds the boundary. So the lasso rule is still, it's out on the full. Ball coming inboard now, goes away of Paletti. To Northampton across the half-back line. Going inboard, looking for that player in Canny. He had a good first term. Trying to pick up where he left off. He tries to get the ball through a passage of players and does so. Northampton come out trumps as the ball goes forward now through the guise of Kingsley Smith. Smith into the half-forward area. Comes off hands, though, and spills over the boundary. The scoreline, if you've just joined us, is Mullewa. 4 straight goals, 24 to Northampton, 2-5-17 early in term 2.
Boundary umpire to put the ball back into play. We've played 9 minutes in this term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack, the federal member that is. The ball comes back into play. Ball very close to the boundary line again. Mullewa player puts the ball down, and the umpire said no. He got rid of the ball appropriately, so the Northampton player has penalised for holding the player without possession. So Mullewa get the ball out of defence. They're working hard back there, the young Mullewa defenders, and that's a good bit of play. So Mullewa have the ball deep in the pocket. The whistle on play, and
it's been turned over by the look
free
of things.
kick has been turned over. Someone must have said something.
Going to take him right into the goalmouth, Kingsley Smith.
So we've seen 2 50-metre penalties, and this one's really going to be costly to Mullewa.
Costly indeed. It's going to even things up a bit.
Kingsley Smith gets an easy goal, and Northampton get their third. And there's only a point in it here at Percher International Oval. So Kingsley Smith, you can't give him 50 metres because Kingsley has gone from way out in the forward flank to right in front. And he finished that off. It seemed to be a free kick to Mullewa, but for whatever reason, there was a turnover. Something must have been said. And on the TMS scoreboard, Mullewa, 4 goals straight, 24. Northampton are 3-5-23. So Northampton, they've been peppering away. They've about 8 scoring shots to Mullewa's 4 and still trail by 1 point.
Yes, the ball back in the middle now. Not a bad game here this afternoon. 2 teams trying to get their first win for this season. Now to Greenock Oval. Daimler Trucks Oval. There's a tight affair. Last score line we got between Homeside Rovers and Chapman Valley. The ball going forward now for Northampton through the grinds of Caddy. He gets it back from a teammate there. And that's Peter Hampton. Caddy puts it onto his boot, sends it inboard, but ill-directed. Finds a defender for Mullewa. He kicks to the outer side quickly. Mullewa had some speed to move on here. It goes away of Shane Bonney. Bonney, he's clever. JJ Clue medalist, sends it further out to the wing. The mark is taken by Sealander. Sealander now coming down the line. Looking good as he finds the player there. We talked about him before, and that is Calvin Wall. Calvin Wall sends it inboard. Got a bit of talent about that fella, and Glenn would know the history of Calvin Wall. Played for East Fremantle. Probably could have gone a little bit further in his football career, Glenn, because he was a bit of a prodigious, how do you say it? Prestige? I don't know how to say it, but he had a bit of talent, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a very, very talented player. Plenty of experience now. But it's good to see his young boys playing, and both of them have got capabilities to go to East Fremantle. There's no doubt about that as Luke Kenny grabs the ball, kicks the ball forward, goes the way of Kingsley Smith. He drops at a ball, which he doesn't usually do. Zach Papertalk takes the ball back. Zach Papertalk kicks it up towards half-forward and finds his hard-running player there in Danishkowski. Danishkowski has the ball on half-back. Gets a kick up towards centre wing. Nobody home for the Saints, but there's somebody home for the Rams. And Lawson is that player. Lawson kicks the ball forward, looking up there for a teammate. And Northampton, they are working hard, but probably not getting value for effort because they are getting the ball into their forward 50. But to Mullewa's credit, their defenders are being very dogged. Ball comes out now to Northampton. They slap ball to the boot. Get it up towards half forward. But once again, it's cleared out through the hard-running Leadham Papertalk. Papertalk goes by hand, gets it the way there of a teammate in Karen Atkin. Turned over again. Northampton have an opportunity. Goes the way of the player there, and Smith gets it out. Goes the way of a Tomelty. Goes the way of Smith again. But well done to Kristen Wright. Put a good tackle on. But in goes the young Northampton player in Sam Lawson. He centres the ball. And he's found a player, and that player is a Northampton teammate, He is 30 metres out, directly in front, pretty well, shooting on goal. And Luke Canny is that player. And Luke Canny has been very impressive in this first half.
Kelvin Moore had prodigious talent. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, no,
prodigious
that's right.
Talent.
Yeah.
That means he was quite remarkable and impressive.
His brother Preston Wall played at East Fremantle, played for a long time.
Nice kick.
And that is a magic goal to Luke Canny. And Luke Canny
He's
gets
having a great game, isn't he?
He is. He's a good penalty player. And it's good to see him back playing good footy, which is wonderful. He, as a young player, he looked like he was going to be a very good player. Unfortunately, he had a pretty serious injury, and he's taken a while to get back to this level, but it's great to see him back. And on the scoreboard, for TMS scoreboard, the Northampton supporters are cheering because for the first time this afternoon, Northampton are in front. Northampton 4-5-29. They lead Mullewa 4 goals straight, 24. And Luke Canny gets Northampton's second goal of this second term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack.
Yes, he and Tyler Caddy have certainly upped the ante somewhat here for Northampton this afternoon against Mullewa. Ball coming out in the middle. I talk about Caddy. There he is. Nice kick into the half-forward area, running to try and collect it. Is the player there in Jaden Paletti, unable to take the mark. The ball spills free. Still in play, though. Mullewa, do they judge the bounce better than their opponents? No one can. Then goes the player there in Grady Tomoty, quickly set upon. The umpire lets it go on for a little while until it's bottled up too much and he needs to blow his whistle, and he does so when he moves in to relieve the pressure. As we mentioned, this quarter brought to you by Melissa Price, the member for Durack. We're here at Northampton this afternoon. Trent O'Malley game day. The ball going back to Mullewa now, but they miscue. Northampton have it through Paletti. Paletti now sizes up his options and finds this player, and we're talking about Grady Tomoty. Premiership coach, Grady. Also a great player in his time as he sends it into the full forward area. Almost a great mark is taken. Over the head, though, goes the way of Tristan Taylor. Comes off hands, and it looks like it was toe poked through.
Brody Atkinson.
Yeah, I think it was Brody Atkinson that did that. That was pretty clever and pretty resourceful, Glenn. On that
so
occasion.
Northampton, Peter, have kicked the last 3 goals on end. So they've kicked 3 goals in this quarter. And you said, I wonder why, but there seems to be the goal scoring end, the southern end. But looking at the windsock, hardly a breath of breeze. So Northampton, after all those opportunities going forward, starting to make hay while the sun shines now. And the sun is shining beautifully here at Perger International Oval. And Northampton on the TMS scoreboard. Northampton 5-5-35. Lead Mullewa 4 goals straight, 24.
And it was Colin Fletcher originally who got that ball up, Glenn.
Yeah.
I said it was Paletti, but they look a little bit similar when they're in the thick of things. But Colin Fletcher doing well as well this afternoon.
Brody Atkinson now got 2 goals, 2 for the afternoon. He, along with his teammate Luke Canny's got 2. Kingsley Smith has got 1.
Off again. They're off again into the half-forward area, Northampton. They got their tails up, have the Rams. But a free kick going against them on this occasion. The ball on the half-back line. Slowing down things somewhat, not Mullewa. If you can say that with Mullewa, it's a bit of a misnomer, isn't it? They never slow things down, but they have on this occasion. The ball on the outer side. They slip behind. They led for most of the duration of this match until the last couple of goals have been scored in succession by Northampton. The ball at centre wing. The umpire sees a free kick. The lasso. It's brought out, and the free kick will go the way of Mullewa. Mullewa now onto their boot, into the half-forward area. Players setting themselves. Up they go, fisted away by Criddle on this occasion. He did bring it to ground, but eventually goes the way of the Northampton player. Oh, gee, he pushes one way, then the other. That's Caddy. They don't argue, but loses direction and straight down the throat of his opposite number. Mullewa will have the ball now, almost at the centre of the ground. A nice chip kick, wasn't 15 metres. Umpire says play on. They still have possession, but they're throwing it around like a hot potato. Caddy says, give it to me. I can handle the heat. He sends it down in front of our broadcast position and running onto it pretty quickly on this occasion is Peter Hampton. He doesn't waste any time. He's doing a Manasseh down the ground here now. He bounces once, twice into the half-forward area. He finds Atkinson, the last goal scorer. The kick by Atkinson is pretty good, but he didn't swing it enough. A check side kick it was, but not accurate, and through for the minor score. But, gee, Hampton took off like nothing else then, Glenn.
He certainly did. He had a few blokes chasing him, but no one could catch him. He's very quick. Peter Hampton, very, very exciting player. And it's good to see him use that pace and break the lines and it'd be good to see more of it.
I don't know,
he's a
using
talented
that term like a Manasseh, if most people would know what I was talking about these days.
That's the thing, isn't it?
He was a player for the Collingwood Football Club
ran
in a
from one
grand
end to the
final.
other. Yeah, that's right.
Classic grand final, wasn't it?
But Peter Hampton ran a good 60 metres, bouncing as he goes, and keeping in front of his opponent and getting the ball deep into the attack for the Northampton side. Ball comes away of Northampton again through Atkinson. Ball comes back to his teammate there in Aidan Bartolo. He gets it up towards half forward, looking again for that player in Hampton. Northampton under pressure, but Hampton has the ball. In goes the Mullewa player heavy, picked up by Tristan Taylor. Tristan Taylor throws boot the ball bounces through, and Tristan Taylor has kicked a magic goal from deep in the half-forward line.
Jake Criddle just made sure it went through, Glenn. He was watching it, he wasn't going to touch it, and he just let everyone know.
He did very well, did young Jake Criddle, and so did Tristan Taylor. And we've been saying Tristan Taylor is a bit of an excitement machine, and he kicked a goal there from 40 metres on a pretty acute angle. And Northampton have really come to play in this quarter. They've kicked 4 unanswered goals in this term, and he is the next of the goal scorers. They've got 3 goal scorers now, 4 goal scorers, Northampton. And on the TMS scoreboard, as we head towards time on in this second term, with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton and, of course, Melissa Price, the member for Durack, we can tell you that Northampton are going to go in with a lead at half-time. Northampton 6-6-42. Lead Mullewa 4 goals straight, 24.
I think it's still pretty tight there at Greenock Oval. We'll be getting an update very, very soon.
Ball comes back into play from the bounce down. Goes the way of Mullewa. Mullewa get it out towards Isaiah Simpson. He gets it forward. Goes only as far as Cam Holmes. Cam Holmes kicks it up towards centre wing. In goes Isaiah Simpson again. Ball spills over the back. Goes the way now of another Mullewa player. Putting the afterburners on is Braith Stratton. Stratton gets his ball on a left boot. Good kick from Braith. Gets it up towards a teammate there in Morris comes back. In goes the Mullewa player there in Stephen Carnamar. Kicks it forward. Once again, Cam Holmes brings it to ground. And the ball comes out of bounds. And the lasso rule, no, the umpire said don't. We'll throw the ball back in. So the ball will be thrown back in by the boundary umpire. So the ruckmen go at it. And it's slapped forward, goes the way of Mullewa, picked up by Bonnie. Bonnie kicks it towards half forward or full forward. Northampton have the run of it. There's a 3-1, and that number beats every time on most occasions as Gus Spalding kicks it up along centre wing. Looking out there for the speedster. Peter Hampton, he's having a ball. Peter Hampton takes another ball, gets a handball to his teammate in Criddle, gives it to a teammate as we see Atkinson send the ball forward, and the Mullewa player stands his ground and gets paid the mark. If not the mark, he was interfered with. So a good bit of play. Hampton's playing with a bit of confidence now, Peter.
Yeah, Hampton's doing like a little bit of a Nick Watson there. He's wondered why he didn't get the ball back. His teammate went the wrong way.
He was hot, wasn't he? Yeah,
he was.
He ran wrong side, I think.
He did. The ball back in the middle now, going forward for Mullewa. Geez, this game has sped up somewhat. It is a treat to watch at the moment. Both these sides, you wouldn't know where they are on the premiership table. They're playing for everything this afternoon, and premiership points is everything. The ball going the way of the Saints into the half-forward area, full-forward area. Up they go. The defender for Northampton couldn't take the mark. Kingsley Smith does well. He scoops up the ball and sends it to the outer side, the pavilion side of the ground. Finds Jamie Williams out there. Williams goes further afield. It's all Northampton on the far side, or is it? The ball bounces well for that player. I'm talking about that player in Gus Spalding. Quickly puts it onto his boot into the half-forward area. No one at home finds the sanctuary of the boundary. And the ball come in off the boot of Mullewa. So the score, 4 straight goals to Mullewa, but they trail Northampton 6 goals, 6-42. So Northampton have had in their forward 50 just a tad more in this quarter.
They certainly have, and they are making a good fist of it. The ball comes back in. Goes the way of Criddle, almost put down a one-handed grab. Whistle on play, and a Northampton player has interfered to Mullewa. Mullewa have the ball. Mullewa get the kick out towards half-back. Goes the way of a teammate there in Braith Stratton. Stratton gets a handball forward. A Northampton player puts a good tackle on Shane Bonney, but was a little high. Shane Bonney, the JJ Clune medalist, kicks it along, gets it towards Braith Stratton. Braith Stratton on centre wing, just in front of our Radio Mama broadcast box here at Northampton Recreation Ground. There goes the kick from Stratton. up towards half forward. Ball slapped away. Goes the way of the Northampton player. Ball comes back to Spalding. Picked up now by Mullewa and Kendall Blurton. Blurton kicks the ball forward. Goes the way of Northampton. Northampton have it the way of the player there in Grady Tomelty. And Grady Tomelty sees the ball across the boundary line. There'll be a boundary throw-in. As we come back into play, the ball didn't go out of bounds, and Mullewa will have an opportunity now. They keep peppering away. They're amazing how they do that. The ball goes forward from Jaden Wall. Jaden Wall gives it to a teammate. That teammate sets sail for home and looks very good off the boot indeed.
It was, and straight through the middle.
That is a marvellous goal from deep in the pocket, just in front of the scoreboard. So Mullewa, they just keep going, and a good goal there. And it was young Kalen Sealander who kicked that goal. So on the TMS scoreboard, Mullewa are 5 goals straight, 30. They trail Northampton 6-6-42. We played 23 and a half minutes, but Northampton will still have a lead at half-time.
Yes, they certainly will. It's pretty tight, as I said, out there at Daimler Trucks Oval. Only 2 points in it. The updated score we have got, Glen Rovers 3-6, lead Chapman Valley 3-4, but we'll have an update as we get toward half-time.
Yeah, very good tight game there. It's second against third. This is fifth against sixth, and the game getting underway at Towns this afternoon at 4 o'clock. It's fourth-placed Brigades up against fifth-placed Towns.
Rebecca Ruthven out at Greenock Oval. Kane Simpson, Jason Daniels, Clay Azevedo and Tom Denton doing well for Rovers, while Kim Schofield, Jaden Gould, Jordan Gould and Riley Brown doing okay for the Valley.
Ball back in the midfield. Ball goes the way of Mullewa defender Zach Papertalk. Feeds a handball out. A Northampton player cop one high there. Umpire says play on. Goes back to player there for Northampton. Puts it on his left boot. Gus Spalding kicks it deep into attack. Looking up there for Jake Criddle. Ball comes back into play, but nobody home there for the Rams, or is there? In goes Mullewa. Mullewa defender has the ball held to him, and he's slung to the ground. Didn't have prior opportunity. And the umpires this afternoon doing a fine job. Umpires Paul Brown and Spencer Roberts, who are the Sandra Carr GNFL umpires of the day. But there's the siren. It's half-time at the football. Pretty entertaining game of footy. And at half-time, Northampton have retained their lead after having a very good quarter and adding some pretty handy goals in this quarter. They kicked 4 goals in the second quarter. Mullewa added 1. And at half-time, it is Northampton 6-6-42. They lead Mullewa 5 goals straight, 30. And you're tuned to Radio Mama, your home of GNFL football.
You're listening to Radio Mama and the GNFL match of the day, thanks to Community Bank Geraldton.
relationship with Great Southern Fuels started with my father 50 years ago, delivering fuel in drums back in the day, which has progressed into large tanks now. They've been very reliable and efficient on time with service.
We run a mixed farming operation here on Chapman Valley, just north of Geraldton, managing about 5,500 hectares. We've been with what is now Great Southern Fuels for in excess of 20 years. There's always challenges and situations that catch you out, and they've been really, really good at accommodating that for us.
We've been with Great Southern for 28 years now. Look, they've given us exceptional service and the price competitive. So it's wonderful.
They're a great company to work for. They're a family-owned business. They will support you and whatever is required.
I've got Alan's phone number, I've got Steve's phone number, and I know if I ring it I'll get an answer, which is really cool.
The relationship's great and the service is second to none. So I ring up and it doesn't matter if it's Saturday, Sunday or whenever I ring up, I'll have fuel. So we've never been held up or had a problem with them. So my theory is that's what I'm about. It's about service and the relationship, and it's been fantastic.
It's very important to maintain long-term customers' loyalty and give back what you can when you can.
Great Southern Fuels is one of the few companies that I've been involved with that gives so much back to the local community. We support so many different organisations and country, sporting clubs, field days, farming organisations.
We endeavour to give back. The community looked after us by dealing with us, and we just gave it back in what we could do. Footy club needs a hand, well, it's because they need a hand that you give it to, not the other way around.
When you look at how they conduct themselves in the community, they've been a great supporter of the Livestock Transporters Association. Just incredible what they do.
I do a lot for the community, which is good. And not only late race either, it's right through where all these outlets are all over the state. He's been excellent with that.
We tend to sponsor major events, the Great Southern Football Carnival, Colts Carnival.
Across the board, I think sponsorships are a very important part of any community. I grew up in Lake Grace and footy was my life down there for a long time. Great Southern sponsored Lake Grace back then, and along with many other footy clubs and hockey clubs and tennis clubs, and we might not always be making a big deal out of it, but the people that get sponsored, they understand and they relate to it.
They do a lot for the town, so I can't fault them. They've been brilliant.
Great Southern Fuels have got strong values, and that shows in what they do. They walk the talk and they do what they do.
You deal with people that are there and care about your business, and these people have been absolutely wonderful.
I'm very proud of what Mum and Dad have achieved in their life and how they've structured the business, and it's all structured around our customers and looking after people and being in the right areas where we need to sell the fuel and have the support there and sponsorship. Being part of the community, even though we're not in that community, but our workers are there, and that's part of us.
You're listening to the GNFL Match of the Day, thanks to Kerrily War MLA and the City of Greater Geraldton on Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.
And a very good afternoon. Welcome back. Half-time of the football. Radio Mama, Geraldton Radio, or Radio Geraldton, Grennan O'Malley Motors Game Day. And we are your home of GNFL footy, with thanks to Glenn Barnden and Peter Fiorenza for round 7 and City in Colour for the Community Bank Geraldton's GNFL Premiership season. And half-time in our game of the day, and it is a pretty entertaining game too. Northampton are in front, look on target to perhaps win their first Premiership points of the year. Northampton 6-6-42. Lead Mullewa 5 goals straight, 30, a 12-point margin. Our half-time summaries with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton. Kerrily War, the member for Geraldton. For Northampton, Luke Canny has 2 goals. Brodie Atkinson has 2 goals. Kingsley Smith and Tristan Taylor 1 apiece. While for Mullewa, Kelvin Wall has 2, Latrell Riley 1 and Isaiah Simpson 1. We're underway in this third term with thanks to Grennan O'Malley Motors. And this is the Premiership quarter as Tyler Caddy grabs the ball and says, we're going to wrap this game up in this quarter, boys. Gets the ball out of the centre. Gets it quickly up to Tristan Taylor. Ball comes out. Goes the way of Caddy again. Gets in the way of Canny. Picked up by Caddy. Caddy gets the ball from 50 metres. Kicks it towards full forward. Looking up there for Callum Teakle. Pack around the ball. Once again, Zach Papertalk, who's been outstanding for Mullewa today. Gets it out. Gets it the way of a teammate there in Braith Stratton. Comes back towards Kristen Wright. Off the boot of Zach Papertalk. Ball taken by the player there in Hanson. He gives it away to Luke Burns. And Luke Burns has kicked a beauty. Luke Burns from 45 metres out. And Northampton extend their lead on the TMS scoreboard. Northampton go to 7 goals, 6-48. They lead Mullewa 5 goals straight, 30. As a very, very important goal there to the Northampton Rams as we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton at Daimler Trucks Greenock Oval this afternoon. At half-time, Rovers 4-6-30 lead Chapman Valley 3 goals, 4-22. The other game today gets underway at 4 o'clock with Towns hosting Brigades. So Brigades are in 4th spot at the moment. Towns are in 5th spot. Very important game, as all the games are this afternoon. Ball back in the centre. Umpire Paul Brown and Spencer Roberts in control for the MLC. Sandra Carr this afternoon, leading the GNFL umpires. Ball comes away of Caddy again. He quickly gets the ball up towards half forward. Ball taken off here, the Northampton player there by Kristen Wright.
Glenn, better
sees the ball
players
across
for
the boundary line.
the Rams in the second term. No particular order. Luke Canny, Atkinson, Criddle, Caddy and Cam Holmes in defence.
As the ball goes deep into attack once again, whistle on player, Northampton player was interfered with there. So the free kick will go the way
of Atkinson, I think it is.
Yeah, and he's been good this afternoon. He's kicked 2 goals.
So amongst my better players, hence there he is.
Better players for Mullewa is in the back line. Zach Papertalk's working hard. Isaiah Simpson around the ground. Kelvin Wall Senior, Shane Bonney and Braith Stratton as the ball from Brodie Atkinson is offline. So another minus score to the Rams. And on the TMS scoreboard, Northampton goes at a 7-7-49. Mullewa 5 goals, 30, so a 19-point margin.
Grennan O'Malley bringing us the third quarter, all-important third quarter, Glenn.
Yeah, they don't get much more important. And Northampton have started the way their coach, Grant Malentis, would like. They've started full of energy. And it started in the midfield with Tyler Caddy continuing on where he left off. Ball comes back to Northampton's Jaden Paletti. And Paletti sets sail for home. And the gates are starting to open now, perhaps, as Jaden Paletti gets his first of the afternoon. And Northampton get another score on the board. So Jaden Paletti, he took the ball from the 50-metre line, took a few of them on, screwed the ball around, and finished off to the northern end of the ground. And on the TMS scoreboard, Northampton are 8 goals, 7, 55. Mullewa are 5 goals straight, 30. And the margin extends now to a pretty handy 25 points.
I'll add Gus Spalding to my better players also in that second term, Glenn. But yes, Northampton getting well and truly on top here this afternoon. They trailed by 9 points at quarter time and led by 12 points at half time and have extended that now in this moments into the third term. Ball coming out of the middle again. That player quickly set upon. Mullewa keen to atone for the early good start by the Rams in the second half. A sun-drenched Northampton Oval here this afternoon. We're broadcasting from in front of the Country Club. Beautiful conditions for football as the ball comes out the way of a Mullewa handball. They go forward again into space. Northampton trying to bottle things up to the guys of a player who worked pretty hard on that occasion in Jared Woodcock. Woodcock slows things down somewhat, and a free kick will go the way of Northampton. And it's Cam Holmes who has it. Played a good first half. Kept his side in it when they were under siege somewhat. Able to now catapult from a defensive position. Ball now with Gus Spalding. Spalding now looking down the line, the former Railways player. He sees options aplenty. Sends it down to ground. The mark is taken by Mullewa. And the guys of Aitken. Aitken now goes inboard. Nice lead. The beautiful lead you expect. The mark wasn't taken by the player there in Shane Bonney, but he follows it up. Does well. That's why he's a class act. Gets it to a teammate there in Phillips. Phillips now down the line into the half-forward area, but there it's again Woodcock. Woodcock, the Rock of Gibraltar, at centre-half back, sends it to the outer side, the pavilion side of the ground. Finds the good arms of the player out there in Paletti. Paletti now spins around on a 50-cent piece, sends it further afield. The ball goes further afield and finds the player there in Fletcher. Fletcher in turn gets it out of a pack of players. They go one way, then the other. Eventually off the boot, it comes into the half-forward area. Mark here to Northampton would be good. More better mark and better hands it could be than Tristan Taylor.
Tristan Taylor plays on quickly, looking up there for Teagle. Ball red off the pack, and the ball goes forward through Lawson. And a very good goal indeed
Luke Canny
from the young man. Luke Canny is the player, and he's had a really good game.
He's had a good game. Probably best on for them at the moment, Glenn.
So Luke Canny playing good footy for the Rams and been very consistent in every quarter. So Northampton have been very good since quarter time.
He heard you talking him up, Glenn.
Yeah, so Northampton have kicked 6 goals now since quarter time. Mullewa have kicked 1. So it's been pretty much one-way traffic, really. And Luke Canny continues to perform well. So we played 6 minutes in this third quarter for Drennan O'Malley Motors. And all of a sudden, it looks like a one-way track. And Northampton well and truly doing the business. So the ball comes out of the centre. Criddle slaps it forward, but only as far as Mullewa's Jaden Wall. Ball comes backwards to Northampton because the Mullewa player screwed the ball off his boot. Goes the way of Hampton. Hampton kicks it forward, looking for Teagle. Picked up by Papertalk for Mullewa. He comes out towards centre wing. But Hampton, who's been very good since quarter time, plays on quickly. Goes the way of Canny. Ball slapped away from him by Aitken. Aitken feeds it out to a teammate. That teammate gets it to the smallest player on the ground in the young Nathaniel Simpson. And Nathaniel sees the ball across the boundary line, and there'll be a boundary throw-in. But the free kick, of course, advantage rule played. The lasso rule sees the ball go to Gus Spalding. Spalding kicks it forward and goes the way of a teammate. Mullewa have it now. Mullewa clear it. Goes the way of the player there in Kalen Sealander. Sealander kicks it forward. But once again, Jake Criddle stands his ground, takes a good mark. Kicks it up towards half forward. Looking there for Brodie Atkinson. Goes the way of Tyler Canny. Goes the way of Luke Canny. Luke Canny, under pressure, gets a handball back. Goes the way of Hampton. Hampton goes by hand to Brodie Atkinson. And Brodie Atkinson finishes from 30 metres. And that's probably one of the better plays from Northampton this afternoon.
Beautiful team goal. Glenn.
And Brodie Atkinson gets another score on the board. And that is Brodie's third of the afternoon, but he had a lot of teammates.
Luke Canny could have been a bit, sorry to interrupt, Glenn, Luke Canny could have been a bit selfish there and tried to take it on himself, but he knew better. He's back to the goals. He saw Hampton in front of him, passed it to him. Hampton was then impeded, and over he went laterally and found Atkinson, who finished it off.
And on the TMS scoreboard, Northampton 10-7-67, Mullewa 5 goals straight 30. So 10 goals, 7 to 5 goals. So 5 goals, 7. 37 points the margin in favour of the home side, the Rams.
Suddenly things have been turned on their head here at Perth International Oval.
Yeah, there was nothing in it, as you said, at half-time. Only a couple of goals, but it's quickly blown out with, we've seen those goals, and Brodie Atkinson getting that goal there. So Paletti kicked the first of the quarter, Luke Canny the next, and then another goal to Brodie Atkinson. So all of a sudden, after 9 minutes, it sort of appears to be Northampton's game to be won.
Criddle continues to dominate the ruck as he gets it out to Caddy down the line. I love this bloke. Tristan Taylor, he's got all in front of him now. A nice kick toward the goals, into the square it goes. But he had a man running in the corridor. He probably could have used Hampton, but he saw the lights, things all lit up for him, and he kicked for the big sticks, but unfortunately through for the minor score. Tristan Taylor, a bit of a fine for Northampton. We're going back the way of Caddy as it ricochets out of goal. Caddy wastes no time, puts it back, but wastes another shot and through again for the minor score. So Northampton at the moment have got the ball on a string.
Yeah, Northampton have the bye next week, so the coach should be pretty happy that they play well today to give themselves an opportunity to rebuild and finish the second half of the season well. Next weekend we've got an interesting round of fixtures, and looking forward to them. They will be very entertaining indeed. Brigades play Chapman Valley at GBSC. Rovers play Railways at Daimler Trucks Greenock Oval. That'll be our broadcast game. And Towns host Mullewa at WA Country Builders Stadium.
Northampton go forward again, Glenn, and it looks like it is a free kick going against that player in Luke Canny. Out of defence it comes now. Gee, they're under siege somewhat now, the defence for Mullewa. They did start off the game pretty quickly. As we said in the first term, they were able to lead going into the first break, but since then they've been pegged back somewhat by their opponents. The ball now in the middle of the ground, going the way of Sam Lawson. Lawson in turn finds a teammate in Woodcock. Woodcock out to the wing, and there's Criddle. Gee, he's nimble for a big fella. He's only young too as he gets it across to a player there in Fletcher. Fletcher in turn sends it inboard, puts a host of his teammates under pressure, but goes back the way of Fletcher now. Goes out of the pack. It looks like it's Atkinson again on the far side. He's been in everything this afternoon. Gives it back to Fletcher. Kicks into the man on the mark, and Mullewa did the better out of that passage of play. Comes inboard now. Going the way of Jaden Wall. He's got a bit of space here. What will he do with it? The youngster sends it into the half-forward area, and a nice mark is taken at centre half-forward. And it's a first sortie forward in this term by Mullewa. And there'll be a shot on goal. And the player with the ball now will have a shot on goal. And that player is Morris Come Again. Couldn't be in better hands, Glenn. He knows how to kick a goal, this fella. So Morris Come Again. He's coming all the way back. Bit of a run-up like Dennis Lilly. I've used Manasseh and Lilly in my sentences this afternoon. So for our younger listeners, they are both good sportsmen indeed. In comes Come Again, kicking toward the southern end. As he comes in, he's holding it pretty straight. He's right in front of the big sticks. Does the little Josh Kennedy skip. Looks pretty good off the boot. What's he done?
Good
yes,
effort.
I think
Good
he's put
goal.
it through. It's a big goal. Coming a bit of distance, and that's a much-needed goal for the Saints.
Well, Morris went through the kicking motions, didn't he? He certainly did it how he does it, and that was a very good goal in the end. He went from a long way back, and he worked his way.
The only thing he didn't do was either eat the grass or throw it in the air, Glenn.
That's right. He did everything else right, and he kicked the goal. That's the main thing. And his coach, Marty Sealander, would be pretty happy about that. But as you said, he knows how to kick a goal. Does Morris Come Again?
Does. He's kicked
and they need a few more like him because they are in a bit of trouble on the scoreboard now.
It's narrowed the gap a bit, but they've got a way to go, haven't they?
They have. Northampton have been peppering away at the score. They had 19 scoring shots to 6, and they lead on the TMS scoreboard. Northampton 10-9, 69, Mullewa 6 goals straight. So they're kicking very accurately. That's one thing that's kept Mullewa in the contest. Ball comes the way of Northampton. They win the ball out of defence. Goes the way of Kingsley Smith on centre wing. Ram Pavilion side, kicking to the northern end. Ball goes over the pack. Picked up by Tristan Taylor. Tristan Taylor from 35 metres shoots on goal. And whistle on play. Umpire said no, nothing in that. Ball comes the way of Zach Papertalk. Papertalk kicks it forward, looking up there for a teammate and Callion Sealander. Sealander gets it up towards the centre of the ground, goes the way of the hard-working Isaiah Simpson. Isaiah plays on now, kicks it a little bit further up the ground, finds a teammate. That teammate is young Stephen Carnamar. Carnamar gets it forward, up towards half-forward, looking up there for some teammates, but the ball very close to the boundary line. But Northampton doing well. Northampton have it. Gus Spalding is that player, but he put the ball down, and that's the way the umpire has read it, and it'll go the way of Mullewa's Braith Stratton.
He goes inboard to Stratton, but goes away of Northampton out of that passage of play. They ricocheted back off the half-back line, goes away of Williams. He too is curtailed in his efforts as the ball moves toward, or motions toward the boundary and finds the white line. The Lasso Rule sees the ball go the way of Northampton off the boot of the youngster there, and Spalding. He sends it down in front of our broadcast position. Up they go. Ball is brought down and no prior opportunity for anyone, says the umpire. The bottom of the pack is the veteran in Kingsley Smith. Up they go, and the ruck for the first ruck I've seen, but it was a mobile piece of ruck work. Didn't go the way of Northampton through. The player there in Criddle, but Caddy does the better in roving the ball off the pack. Coming forward, though, up goes Kingsley Smith. Almost took a nice specky. He's curtailed his efforts in the final passages of that, or the final stages of that passage of play. The ball goes forward now. There's Spalding again. It was there a moment ago. He kicks it forward. He's looking for some support down the line. In goes Criddle, can't take the mark. Williams does so, but off the boot goes away of Mullewa. Mullewa through the guise of Kalen Sealander. Send it inboard. And there he is. The veteran himself going forward in Shane Bonney. He's looking for support down the line, and he picks out a player who's equal to the task. That player goes further forward now in Morris Come Again. He sends it inboard and now has the ball. So Morris Come Again, took the mark. And he's going to have another shot at goal, but he's almost sitting next to you with this shot. So let's see what he can do.
Yeah, Stephen Carnamar was the player that kicked it to Morris. So Morris Come Again. We know he goes through the situation. He visualises where he's going to kick it. He goes about 20 metres behind the mark. But he kicked one from very similar position not moments ago. So can he get another goal and keep Mullewa in the contest for a little while longer? There goes the kick from Morris Come Again. Looks pretty good off the boot. This time it fades away to the left-hand side. The Northampton defender slaps the ball through for a force behind. And on the TMS scoreboard, Northampton did well there, keeping Mullewa out. Mullewa get their first minus score of the day. Mullewa a 6-1-37. They trail Northampton 10 goals, 9-69. Ball back on centre wing, Ram Pavilion side, but it's cut off. Kelvin Wall gone into defence now to try to stem the tide a little bit. Goes the way of Aitken. Aitken for Mullewa comes across the ground. Finds it the way of Danishowski. He gives it to his teammate there, who gets shoved out of it. Ball comes back. Good bit of play there from Jake Criddle. Used his strength on Anthony Little. Goes the way of Grady Tomalty. Feeds a handball out to Callum Teagle. Teagle's got two to beat. Big fella goes at it. Puts a good pressure on. But the umpire Spencer Roberts will come in and throw the ball up. About 40 metres from goal. And the pressure is on Mullewa now. Keep the ball away. The big fella goes forward this time. Teagle slaps it to ground, goes back in to retrieve it. In goes his teammate. Mullewa player goes in for it. Both sides playing with good spirit this afternoon. Ball comes out, and a Mullewa player is going to get a free kick because the Northampton player threw the ball, and the free kick goes the way of Shane Bonney. And Shane Bonney tucks the ball under his arm, has a little bit of a rest. Sucks it in, as they say.
Sucking in the big ones, as they say in the classics, Glenn. Coming out of defence, though, doesn't go 15 metres. Umpire says play on. He agrees with me. Coming out toward the boundary. Goes away of a player there, and that player is Stratton. Stratton eventually gets it after 2 attempts, sends it down the line and finds Anthony Little. He puts it inboard, though. Not the best decision to make, because there's a host of Northampton players there, including the player there in Tomalty who goes forward. Going forward now is Tomalty. He's just outside the forward 50.
Good
nice kick. It's a nice kick into the full forward area. And there he is. Kingsley Smith takes the mark and finishes off with a goal for Northampton.
Yes, the Northampton crowd can smell a victory this afternoon. It'll be their first if they can hang on and get the job done. And a very good goal there to Kingsley Smith. But it was a beautiful goal set up by Grady Tomalty. Beautiful kick from about 60 metres out. He saw Kingsley Smith over the back, but a beautiful kick. And Kingsley made a good business of that and finished off very strongly. And on the scoreboard for TMS, which is Technical Maintenance Services, the award-winning company, who are a major sponsor of the Northampton Footy Club. And a good goal there to the man himself, Kingsley Smith. So another goal scorer to the Rams. As we look at the TMS scoreboard, it is Northampton 11-9-75. They lead Mullewa 6-1-37.
And the Rovers the Demons have a bit of breathing space out there at Daimler Trucks Oval, then 42-29. I'd say that's deep into the third term.
Very good. So good tight game as you'd expect. Both enjoying playing each other out there at Daimler Trucks Greenough Oval this afternoon. And we'll be there next weekend for a really big game. Rovers and Railways. So looking forward to having Radio Mama there next weekend for all the action and a big round of fixtures. Next weekend is a special round like they all are. It's the Think Mental Health round. Brigades host Chapman Valley at GBSC Sports Park. Towns play Mullewa at WA Country Builders Stadium. And as we mentioned, our Adrenaline O'Malley Motors game day, Rovers and Railways. The ball is on centre wing.
Tristan Taylor, he's good, isn't he?
He's a beauty. Tristan Taylor kicks the ball forward. Good mark taken there by his teammate in Jaden Paletti. Paletti plays on quickly, looking out there for his brother Liam. Ball comes to ground. Ball comes back to Liam Paletti. From 30 metres, he screws the ball around the corner. And well done. The Paletti brothers come together to finish that one off beautifully. And Liam Paletti, and along with Jaden, who played last week and played well, they're playing well again today.
That's what they call a corkscrew, Glenn.
It was. And he didn't have a lot of movement. He just dropped the ball up. He knew what he wanted to do, and he put boot to ball, screwed the ball around the corner. And Northampton, are they on target? It would appear, to get their first premiership points of the year in 2026. On the TMS scoreboard as we head towards time on in this third quarter for Adrenaline O'Malley Motors. Northampton a 12-9-81, Mullewa a 6-1-37.
You're listening to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football. Adrenaline O'Malley Motors bringing you this third term. Hello to Ron down there at Adrenaline O'Malley. Of course, Rachel there as well, and the team for a new used car, I should say. Some of the best in town. Head to Adrenaline O'Malley on Chapman Road. So the ball now, a free kick going the way of Mullewa from that centre bounce. They are trailing somewhat as we head toward the last change here in our Adrenaline O'Malley game day. On the scoreboard, it is 37. They trail Northampton 81. So they've really got away with it now, have the Rams, and they're possibly, I know it's early to say, but they should be going to have their first win of the season. As you said, going into a break next week. Grant Malentis has been working with a young fledgling side this season. A few old veterans in the side, but a side that is in the in development stages, Glenn.
Ball comes back towards Northampton, and the umpire says, give it to me, I'll throw the ball. A 50-metre penalty because the Northampton player didn't come back. The umpires have been pretty stiff on that this afternoon, but it's working. I think the umpires have done a reasonably good job this afternoon. Paul Brown and Spencer Robert, who are the Sandra Carr MLC GNFL umpires of the day, and a two-umpire system today, and they've done a really good job. Ball is with Isaiah Simpson. Isaiah plays on quickly, and there's a lot to like about this young player. Kalen Sealander looks like a very promising type. Kicks the ball up towards half forward, looking up there for Braith Stratton. But Northampton do well. Northampton get it through Aidan Bartolo. He gives it away to Paletti, the man that just kicked the last goal. He goes with a short pass to Jake Criddle. Jake Criddle off half-back. Kicks it deep into the forward pocket. Looking up there for Atkins, but Christian Wright does well. Christian Wright leads the race for the ball. Soccers ball along the ground. Ball comes back towards Jake Criddle. Jake kicks it out wide. And right on the boundary line, gives it to Tristan Taylor. He centres the ball, finds Kingsley Smith. Kingsley Smith feeds the handball out, looking out there for Grady Tomety. Tomety screws the ball around, gives it to Jamie Williams, and Jamie Williams is marked. And Jamie Williams is marked some 30 metres out, directly in front. And it looks like the Rams are going to get another score on the board just before three-quarter time.
They're ramming it home all right, Glenn. And Jamie Williams, he's a pretty good goal sneak. He's giving himself a bit of a run-up on this one.
It'll be a big night in Mullewa tonight.
Sealander, Kalen, you were talking about him a couple of weeks ago, Glenn. Of course, he's the grandson of Marty Sealander, who is the coach.
Yeah.
And his grandmother was Wendy Pass, who comes from the Pass family, who comes from a good pedigree of footballers in the GNFL. But they, of course, were with the Rover Football Club.
Most certainly, as we see Jamie Williams get a very good goal there. So Jamie ticking over nicely, and Northampton are ticking over nicely. It's been a little bit of a one-way street since quarter time, because since quarter time, Northampton have added 11 goals and Mullewa have added 2. So that sort of shows their dominance since quarter time.
And
Mullewa started well.
Sorry, it was only 12 points in Northampton's favour at half-time, Glenn.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so they really have taken the bull by the horns in this quarter, have the Rams.
They certainly have. But they'd only had 2 goals at quarter time. That's the point. So 2 goals and now 11 goals since quarter time, whereas Mullewa have added only 2 goals since quarter time. Ball out of the centre. Goes the way of Kingsley Smith. And whistle on play. Mullewa player into Luke kicks it up towards Grady Tomelty. Grady Tomelty's been good in this quarter, using his skill to good impact. There he goes. And Grady on that occasion had another shot, but he missed on that occasion. So on the scoreboard for TMS, the Technical Maintenance Services, Northampton doing them proud at the moment. Northampton 13-10, 88. Mullewa 6-1, ball comes back into play. Mullewa have it now.
23 shots to 7, Glenn, is the story of the day.
It is a bit like that, isn't it?
It is. The ball in defence now with Mullewa. Things still pretty tight at Greenough Oval this afternoon, so Northampton really keen to try and move themselves to the further up the premiership table and make things interesting in the GNFL. The ball with Mullewa now as it comes out the way of the player that certainly had a bit of ball in his day, and Shane Bonny. He gets it further afield and finds Stratton. Stratton down the line and unopposed. The mark is taken by a teammate down there in Kelvin Wall. So Wall now is looking down the line. He's not seeing much because Northampton certainly have all avenues blocked off as he sends it into a contested passage of play. The ball goes to ground. It's picked up by Sealander. Sealander handles over a couple of players. He doesn't get it to where he wants it. Going back the way of Paletti now for Northampton. Liam got a great goal, a corkscrew goal I call it, a little bit earlier on. Ball comes down the line and the whistle sounds. So slowed down a little bit as we see a free kick go the way of Northampton. Coming back to Paletti. So going right back to Paletti. That's interesting. So he obviously was dealt with once the ball came down the line. So Liam Paletti will go laterally now. He looks for Williams but doesn't get it. But Northampton do well to get out of that. Going the way of this player now. We're talking about Fletcher. Fletcher loses possession. Mullewa might be able to make them pay here because they're a little bit nonchalant, or the Rams, as they go forward. But no one in the forward line to collect it. And it's Paletti who's there to mop up once again. At the southern end, defending, he sends it forward. There is Williams. Williams now out of the pack, gets it away to Fletcher. Fletcher gets it to a teammate, and the siren sounds to announce that it is three-quarter time here in Adrenaline Valley game day. And Northampton certainly have a of themselves in the third term. It is Northampton 13-10, 88, leading Mullewa 6-1, 37. And you're listening to the home of football. This is Radio Mama.
You're listening to the GNFL Match of the Day, thanks to Kerrily War MLA and the City of Greater Geraldton on Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football. Match of the day. Thanks to our sponsors, Melissa Price MP and Grant Russell, Chartered Accountants.
And we're underway in this fourth quarter with thanks to GTRS Chartered Accountants. 51 points the margin in favour of the Rams. And in the last quarter, we've seen Mullewa quickly get the ball out of the centre. And they've got it up towards half forward. The ball is in the forward line now. Northampton player spills the ball, play on's the call. Ball comes back. Mullewa desperate for a goal. Ball in the back half for the goals for them. Comes back to Hampton for Northampton. Whistle on play. And the ball was put down not the right way, according to the umpire. So the ball will go the way of Shane Bonney. Shane Bonney is 45 metres out, kicking towards the northern end.
Glenn, for me, Caddy, Luke Kenny, Fletcher, Criddle and Liam Paletti better for Northampton in the third term.
And, of course, our three-quarter time summaries with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton, Kirrily War, the member for Geraldton, as Shane Bonney lines up for goal. There goes Bonney's kick. Looks pretty good off the boot. That's is a good goal.
No,
off right on the line. Ball went right to the line. Play on's the call. Well done. Picked up by the Mullewa youngster, or the younger, smaller player. Ball comes the way of a Northampton defender, and the umpire will come in and throw the ball up. Yes, goal scorers until three-quarter time. Luke Canny has 3, Brodie Atkinson 3, Kingsley Smith 3, Tristan Taylor, Jaden Paletti, Liam Paletti and Jamie Williams. In fact, it's Kingsley Smith 2, and we've also got Grady Tomelty with 1.
Shot on goal, Glenn went through for the minor score.
Okay. Looking at Mullewa goal scorers, Kelvin Wall has 2, singles to lateral Riley, Isaiah Simpson, Morris Cummigan and Callian Sealander. As we goes the way of Jake Criddle. He handballs the ball looking for the player there in Tyler Caddy. And the Tyler Caddy was held while not in possession. Advantage rule paid. Goes the way of Tristan Taylor on half forward. Gives it away of Brodie Atkinson. Atkinson centres the ball but is cut off by the Mullewa player there in Jesse Phillips. Phillips goes out wide, looking out there for a teammate. That player is Kendall Blurton. In fact, it's Callian Sealander again. And goes backwards to go forward, and Mullewa have the ball. Goes the way of Shane Bonney on half-back. Looking at the other game that's in progress at the moment, at Daimler Truck Gwenaff Oval. A very tight game there at three-quarter time. Rovers 6-6-42 lead Chapman Valley 6 goals, 5-41. So a very tight last quarter happening at Gwenaff Oval this afternoon. Ball comes back towards Kelvin Wall, the veteran, gets it back, picked up by Northampton, but once again Northampton have an opportunity through Tomelty, smothered off the boot by Zach Papertalk. In goes Northampton through Aitken. Mullewa through Aitken, gives it to a teammate. They get it up towards centre wing on the outer side, and Northampton working hard there through the player in Paletti, Liam Paletti, comes back towards a teammate there, and that teammate is Cohen Fletcher. So Northampton move the ball forward through Kingsley Smith. Ball cut off by the Mullewa defence. So Mullewa defenders are working hard. Brath Stratton is that player. Gives it to a teammate, but the ball's cut off by Woodcock, and Northampton out of trouble in the short term.
He sends it into the half-forward area. It's gamely picked up by Aidan Bortolo. He sends it further afield. A bit of a contest on in the half-forward area. Can Northampton keep it in this area? The whistle does sound. And the umpire has awarded a free kick, and the free kick has gone the way of the defender for Mullewa. So, as Glenn said, Mullewa having to defend a little bit, and they are doing it in this early stages of the final term. The ball is kicked inboard now. Caddy puts a vice-like tackle on his opponent. He actually wins the ball, sends it back to where it came. That was great play by Tyler Caddy. Put on the tackle, Glenn. The ball spilled free. He picked it up, and I think he's found Spalding now. So he's going to have a shot on goal. So young Spalding, who's moved over from Railways this season. This is probably one of the best games he's played so far since moving to his new club, finding his feet. So Gus Spalding. Gee, beautiful lace-out kick from Tyler Caddy, that's for sure. And he'll kick toward the southern end. He's going to kick from about 30 metres, 25 to 30 metres when he gets onto this one. But umpire's waiting for something to happen here. So when he comes now, Gus Spalding, former Nagel boy, kicks it straight through the middle. Gus Spalding has scored his first goal, I think, for Northampton here at his new club. And congratulations to Gus and the Rams. They have a handy lead here on Dread and O'Malley Game Day.
And Gus becomes the 9th goal scorer for the Rams. And it's fair to say that we can see that Northampton are going to get their first premiership season points of 2026 on the Community Bank premiership table. So good to see, and good effort there from young Gus Spalding, who, as you say, Peter, is growing in confidence the more time he gets to play. And it's not easy playing in a new club that's under pressure, and Northampton have been under pressure for most of the season so far.
Yes, a good goal by Gus Spalding. As the ball comes back now, we're headed into the final stanza, early stages of the final stanza here at Perth International Oval this afternoon. As Glenn mentioned, we're off to Daimler Truck Greenock Oval next week for the game between Railways and Rovers. And will Rovers have a loss under their belt then, because Chapman Valley are really pushing them at Greenock this afternoon? We'll get an update as soon as it comes to hand. The ball goes to the full forward area again. I think it looks like it could be that player again in Gus Spalding, who has another shot on goal, but on this occasion goes straight across the face and through for the minor score. So Northampton controlling most of the play at the moment.
And looking at an update, Rovers have kicked the first couple of goals of the final quarter. Rovers 8-7, 55. Lead Chapman Valley 6-5, 41. So Rovers breaking opening that game, but still a long time to go in that contest.
It'll be interesting, east-west ground.
Yeah, the
so
breeze
if you're
will be
kicking toward the airport end, you'd have the breeze at your back.
Yeah, that's for sure. Ball comes the way there of Zach Papertalk, who never gives up trying for his beloved Saints. Papertalk gets it out wide, goes the way very close to a Northampton player, picked up by Mullewa, get it up towards centre wing, but Northampton are there. And a good player in Cam Holmes, steady in a crisis. Gives it away, Kingsley Smith, a player similar. He goes down the clubroom side and finds Max Lawson. Max Lawson plays on quickly. The little speedster. And Peter Hampton is there. Peter Hampton on centre wing. Kicks it up towards half forward. Jake Criddle takes a good strong mark. Plays on quickly. Gives it to Aidan Bartolo. Northampton get it up towards Brodie Atkinson.
He's been good today.
And Brodie Atkinson, well, he's kicked 3 goals, lining up for goal number 4. He is 25 to 30 metres out, kicking towards the southern end.
He led for that, Glenn, and he certainly didn't let his teammate
Yeah, good
down.
bit of play from Northampton. Mullewa running out of puff a little, it would appear. There goes the kick from Brodie Atkinson. And he gets his 4th of the day, so a big day out for Brodie.
He should have been amongst my better players for the third term. Sorry, Glenn, an omission then, but Atkinson has been amongst the better players all day.
Looking at the better players for Northampton, for Mullewa, most of them have been in defence, it's fair to say. And one of them is Zach Papertalk. He continues to work hard. But I like the work of Brath Stratton. He's a promising young player from Carnarvon. Looks like a player of ability. Also, Liam Papertalk, he was good for good lengths of the game. Shane Bonney has been good. Kelvin Wall Sr. has been good. Isaiah Simpson's trying hard. And I've been pretty impressed by Kendall Burton and also Kalen Sealander, both young players with a lot of promise.
Glenn Barden bringing you the better players that he believes from Mullewa in this encounter this afternoon, but it's hard work. It's uphill very much for Mullewa this afternoon. Northampton going for their first win of the season, Glenn.
As we quickly go around the grounds and tell you what happened in other games, the women's game at WA Country Builders Stadium has just concluded, and Towns have had a win there. Towns 2-9-21 have defeated Brigades 1 goal 4-10, 11 points the margin. So that game is underway. The league game is underway at Wonthalla now.
It's an early start for Brigades. They've got a big lead at the moment, 24-7, Glenn.
Yeah, so a good start to the side. And, of course, there will be perhaps a little bit of breeze in Geraldton, but it probably wouldn't have a great impact, you wouldn't think. But we'll see as the game progresses. We wait for the ball to come back to the centre. Eventually it is recovered and brought back by the players. Picked up now by that player I was just talking about in Kalen Sealander. He goes out wide and finds Jaden Wall. Wall gives it away to Liam Papertalk Sr. Liam Papertalk gets it up towards Kendall Blurton. Whistle on play. Northampton player didn't stand his ground. And a 50-metre penalty is the result. And Kendall Blurton will go from 50 metres out to right up in the goal square. And a much-needed goal coming the way of the Mullewa Saints as Kendall Blurton has the ball. As we say, Jake Criddle coming off with what looks like he's got an injured arm or injured hand. So the ball is with Kendall Blurton. Of course, Ashley Blurton's son, former West Coast player. Kendall Blurton with the ball, 25 metres out. Kicks it straight through the centre. Goal umpire signals all clear. And on the TMS scoreboard, Mullewa go to 7-2, which is 44. They trail Northampton 15-11, 101. So a good response there from Mullewa. They keep going back to the centre. They keep trying. But it's going to be a win to Northampton this afternoon. Northampton are going to bring up their first premiership points of 2026.
I would think they would be maybe even 60 points plus by the end of the game this afternoon, which is a big win and a bit of a boost in percentage for them as well. So it will only leave Mullewa without a win in the competition. So
and makes it probably hard for them from here on. It's going to be really tough. This is a really good chance for them, but they just haven't got the players at the moment. Of course, they lost a number of key players to North Midlands in recent weeks. That certainly hasn't helped their cause.
Ball back in the middle now, and it's knocked down by Teagle on this occasion. Goes away one of the better players this afternoon. Going to be able to hard to pick between both Luke Canny and Atkinson this afternoon because they've both been in it. So too Tyler Caddy. So Glenn, we're going to have to throw it up into the air and see which lands on the ground first, or turns up heads or tails for that matter. The ball going forward now for Northampton. There's been a bit of a stop in play as a player is he's on the ground, he's on his haunches, but he gets up now. And sun-drenched oval here at Northampton this afternoon. A bit of rain is expected next week, Glenn, and the farmers around the district are pretty happy as the ball goes forward for Northampton, and that is another goal for the Rams. And I'm just seeing who scored that goal. I'll just double check.
Peter Hampton, wasn't it?
I think it might have been Peter Hampton, but they're all coming through and slapping each other on the back, so we'll give it to Peter Hampton for now. But that certainly was a quick reply by Northampton to the earlier goal, the 50-metre penalty goal, which was successful for Mullewa.
Time 12 minutes gone in this final quarter for GT Russell Chartered Accountants.
Hello to Grant and Michelle. Of course, Grant, president of the league, and Michelle, his better half, of course, Glenn, as always.
Well said, Peter, well said. The ball comes the way of Sealander. He gets it forward, looking up there for some run, looking for Kendall Blurton. Ball slapped forward, goes the way of Paletti, goes by hand to Caddy. And the Northampton players are getting excited now. This is going to be a very big win for the Northampton Rams as the ball goes the way of Caddy, gets it back towards Tomalty. Tomalty gives it away of Canny. Luke Canny gets it forward, but Zach Papertalk stands his ground, takes a very good mark. So Zach Papertalk, he doesn't let much go past him.
No, he doesn't.
He's a beauty. Zach Papertalk plays on quickly, but his kick is a poor one on this occasion. He's picked out Northampton's Cohen Fletcher. Fletcher goes out wide, looking for Kingsley Smith. Kingsley Smith on centre wing on the Ram Pavilion side. Runs around his opponent, gets a kick forward, up towards half forward. Northampton player under pressure. Ball goes into the front, goes the way there of Gus Spalding, throws it on his boot, goes the way of Kelvin Wall. Northampton have an opportunity again, picked up by Tristan Taylor. Taylor shoots towards goal, and let's wait on it.
Now it's a goal.
He has kicked a magic goal from right on the boundary, some 35 metres out.
He's mercurial, to say the least, is Tristan Taylor.
Yeah, and Luke Burns watched it go through. He just followed it through. Northampton have been very good at that
They
today.
have the corralling of the ball.
That's right. If it wasn't going to go the right way, he would have grabbed it and kicked it through. But Tristan Taylor, it's amazing how they can kick the ball along the ground for such a long distance and get the score on the board they want. So a good bit of goal there from Tristan Taylor.
I've seen you do that at Mazzucchelli Oval a couple of times.
Yeah, from about 3 metres, I might be right, but not from 37 metres. Tristan Taylor did very well. That's Tristan Taylor's second goal. Ball back in the centre, and this is the final term of round 7 of the GNFL Premiership season. Of course, still a game continuing down there at WA Country Builders Stadium. But the ball is on the other side. 1 Mullewa player, 2 Northampton players. And the ball very close to the boundary line.
Today, as it was broken on Sportshed Saturday, Glenn, NBL 1 has abandoned the game between the Bucks tonight and their opponents. I think I'm trying to remember who it was tonight that they were supposed to be playing, but that game has been abandoned, and it is probably the 3rd game, I think, this season.
Well, hopefully it's just postponed. I don't think they can keep... They washed the other game out. They said it was a washout, the game between Goldfields and the Buccaneers, so you couldn't have too many games. I'll just have to play it where it's suitable. But it's annoying, it's very annoying, because, of course, everyone was setting themselves for a big night at the basketball this afternoon and this evening. So disappointing for all the Bucks fans and the supporters, and there are many. The ball is on half forward. Goes the way now of Mullewa. Mullewa's Isaiah Simpson soccers the ball towards ground, but the ball gets an awkward bounce, as it does in that Amy ad. It bounces the wrong way, and it could have bounced the right way, but it didn't, and the ball goes the way for a minor score as Lawson brings the ball back in. That's Max Lawson for Northampton. Comes up the ground, does Grady Tomaty, receives a handball. Grady Tomaty kicks it in towards the centre, finds a teammate there, and that teammate gets the kick forward. That's young Jackson Rayner. Ball goes up towards half forward. Looking up there for Paletti. Comes back towards Northampton player there in Bartolo. But Mullewa do it well again. They hold the ship steady, and Kelvin Wall is that player. Kelvin Wall comes out wide, finds Kristen Wright. Kristen Wright on half-back, kicks it up towards his teammate. That teammate is Braith Stratton. Handball goes towards the boundary line. Off hands, and the lasso rule will come into play. So Northampton get an opportunity to kick the ball back into play.
The latest we have from the Bucks is that game against Willetton Tigers, I think, has been rescheduled. That's Willetton Tigers game. So
that's right.
Yeah.
So very good. It'll be interesting to see what happens from here. The ball goes the way of Paper Talk. He kicks the ball across the ground, but he's offline, and the ball's cut off, and it's finished there by Peter Hampton. Peter Hampton gets his second goal in as many minutes, and he's been very good today, Peter Hampton, and he would have enjoyed his day out. There's no doubt about that. As the Rams go on their merry way, and on the TMS scoreboard, Northampton are 18 goals 11, 119. Mullewa a 7-3-45.
Brigade's doing the job pretty easily over Towns in the latter stages, I think, of the first term there at Wonthella this afternoon, and be good to get an update from Grenfell Oval because Rovers had skipped away a little, but maybe they might have been pegged back, Glenn.
Yeah, it's going to be a good contest, and of course we'll be there at Daimler Truck Grenfell Oval again next week for our Adrenaline O'Malley Motors game.
Will be there.
Yeah, Lola will be there, and so will we if Lola gets us there.
Rovers have really skipped away now, Glenn. 76-41. They've had a pretty
good last quarter.
Good last quarter, that's for sure. And 31-13 at WA Country Builders Stadium in favour of Brigades.
Rovers are 11-10, 76, as you say. Chapman Valley 6-5, 41. So Chapman Valley haven't troubled the scorer.
Poor old Valley went to sleep after three-quarter time.
Yeah, so a 5-goal quarter so far to Rovers, so doing it pretty well. So a good performance there from the Rovers Demons, who carry on their merry way. Ball to be brought back in, boundary throw in deep in the left forward pocket, and the ball will come back into play. It goes throw up by the umpire, comes the way of the Mullewa defence. Can they pick it up? They do so now, and the Mullewa defenders do well. They get the ball up towards centre wing, and it goes the way of the player there who's pretty good this afternoon, Stephen Carnamar. Stephen Carnamar Jr. gets it up the ground, but it's cut off by the Northampton player there, Callum Teakle. Kicks it back up towards half forward. A Northampton player is tackled high. That player is Sam Lawson. Lawson plays on quickly, looking for the man of the moment, and Peter Hampton. Ball bounces away from him. Northampton get the ball forward, and the mark taken by Luke Burns, deep in the left forward pocket. We saw Luke Burns kick a beauty goal in the last quarter.
He certainly did.
So he has an opportunity to kick another one in a moment. So he shoots on goal when he gets an opportunity. So it'll be a pretty difficult shot from there. So let's see how he goes. So Luke Burns lining up for goal.
He's done it all right, Glenn. It's straight through the middle. So Luke Burns has scored yet another goal for Northampton. And they are marching home here at Perch International Oval this afternoon.
Yeah, Luke Burns gets his second, so he is helping share the goals. They've had 11 goal scorers this afternoon, Northampton, so naturally this is their biggest goal-scoring feast of the year. And they're going for goal number 20 at the next goal. And Northampton doing it well here at their home track here at Perch International Oval. So we're into time on shortly, this last quarter, with thanks to GT Russell.
Yesterday I was stuck into one of the supermarkets in town and saw Dylan Ralph coming through the car park he even wears his brigade's shorts around the place when he's even not playing. That's how much he enjoys his footy.
Yeah, well, he's probably just been to the gym or something. That's the problem.
Or headed to training, one or the other.
That's right. Probably both. The ball goes forward, and this time a Northampton player cops one high, and that is Luke Burns, who kicked the last goal.
He's having another good season,
So
though,
Luke
isn't he?
Burns has got a smack. He gets the ball back to his teammate there in Spalding. Spalding puts it on his left boot, kicks it towards full forward, ball running free, goes the way of Paletti. Paletti's strong enough to break a tackle, and he was tackled illegally, so he has an opportunity to shoot on goal again. Does Liam
Paletti? He was
Paletti.
Harley Reid then.
Well, he's strong enough to. Liam Paletti's a pretty strong player.
He only had to beat 2, not 3, but he's going to get a free kick anyway.
So Liam Paletti, who has kicked the goal this afternoon, can he kick goal number 2 and get Northampton's 20th goal of the day? The first time they've done it in 2026.
Not the best he kicks, but it's good enough.
Goal number 2 to Liam Paletti. Goal number 20 to Northampton. On the TMS scoreboard, Northampton are 20 goals, 11. Doing the job on Northampton. Northampton doing the job on Mullewa this afternoon in this round 7 encounter for City in colour. So winners so far today. Rovers too good for Chapman Valley at Daimler Trucks Greenock Oval. Northampton too good for Mullewa at Percher International Oval. And Brigades have started well in their contest at WA Country Builders Stadium as we head towards quarter time in that game, which got underway at 4 o'clock. So 2011, 131 leads Mullewa, 7-3, 45, as the umpire puts the ball into the air again. And once again, Mullewa under pressure in the ruck because Callum Teagle doing the rucking now after Jake Criddle's been doing the rucking for most of the day.
All day, the young fella. He's only about 18.
Callum Teagle slaps the ball
Criddle
down
with that.
again. Ball picked up by Tyler Caddy. He never knocks up getting kicks, does he? Gets the ball up the ground and gets in the way of the
Bartolo.
Northampton there and Aidan Bartolo. Whistle on play. The umpire says, "Give it to me, gentlemen. I'll throw the ball up." Backward side of the square. And once again, Northampton get it. Goes the way of Caddy. Gets boot the ball just at the nick of time. Picked up by Stratton. He gets it out to teammate Kelvin Wall. Wall runs through traffic. He's clever. Kicks the ball up ground. Finds Kalen Sealander centres the ball, gets in the way of Blurton. Kendall Blurton backward to centre, kicks it forward. Northampton player used his body pretty well there, and Jaden Paletti. And he gets the ball out towards a teammate, goes back to Paletti, but the ball has gone out of bounds. Just very near the TMS scoreboard, the Malcolm Gould scoreboard here at Percher International Oval. And Northampton, 2011, 131. Lead Mullewa 7-3, 45.
Then getting a few messages through from Rebecca Ruth from Gerald Newspaper. She's out at Greenock Oval this afternoon. She said another great game by Jason Daniels. Can't wait to see him next week.
Yes, well, every game he's played, he's been amongst their better players, if not their best player. So, yeah, we get an opportunity to see him play next week. And I believe I spoke to Jamin Alone during the week, and Jamin Alone will be back next week too, he said. He's pretty keen to play again next week.
And he's kicked 3 goals too, did Jason Daniels today for the Demons.
Yeah, so good performance. He's a good player. But, yeah, put Jamin Alone back in that lineup. It should be
pretty crowded midfield.
It'll be a very crowded midfield, but it pushes the points. The boy goes forward, goes the way of a teammate there, and goes the way now of Tristan Taylor. Taylor gets the ball forward, gets it the way of a player there in Rayner. Rayner gets it forward again, looking up there for a teammate in Paletti. Pack around the ball, comes back towards a teammate in Kelvin Wall, gives it to his teammate. The teammate dropped his head. Umpire said, play on, nothing in that. Ball comes back towards Callum Teagle. The captain spears the ball forward, and he's found a teammate running towards him, and this player is only 25 metres out. And a big opportunity now for Sam Lawson to get a score on the board and get Northampton their 21st goal of the afternoon. So whistle on play. There's a blood rule, and it must be young Lawson must have a bit of blood on him, or someone's got blood on him. The umpire's
checking him out.
Blood rule.
He's okay.
So you let him have a shot on goal, and the ball was shot. So waiting on Lawson to shoot the ball. Whistle on play.
50-metre penalty.
50-metre penalty because the Mullewa player must have said something to do with the blood rule.
Bring him right into the goal square
So
now.
he'll certainly get it from there if he was not going to miss it
Straight
before.
through the middle, bang.
So Sam Lawson becomes another goal scorer. So they're lining up to kick goals now. The Rams are all getting in amongst the action. So a lot of goal scorers. There's 13 goal scorers for Northampton today. So Sam Lawson gets another one. That's his first of the afternoon, but another one for the Rams. And on the total technical maintenance service scoreboard here at Percher International Oval, it is Northampton 21-11, 137. Mullewa 7-3-45 as time runs out well and truly for Mullewa this afternoon, but they're probably pretty glad about it. And Mullewa are going to have a pretty long season, it would appear, after their efforts this afternoon. They were pretty good in the first quarter, but since that time, it's all been one-way traffic. Northampton have added 19 goals, and Mullewa have added 3. But Mullewa, they keep trying as Shane Bonney wins the ball out of the centre, kicks it up towards the forward line. Ball running free, comes the way of Blurton. Blurton sets sail for home. He's offline, 1 point only. And Mullewa will go to 7 goals, 5-47, and they trail Northampton 2-11, 137. So the ball to be brought back in.
Northampton going to have a big win as they go into their break for next week. And, of course, Glenn, as you mentioned, we will be out at Greenough Oval, Daimler Truck Oval next week. And, gee, it's going to be a big game between the table leaders at the moment, Railways and Rovers.
And both undefeated?
Yes, Rovers will move to the top of the premiership table by virtue that Railways have a bye this week. But the winner will certainly hold their head high after next week.
Final scores of the game at Daimler Truck Greenough Oval. Rovers 12-12 but defeated Chapman Valley 8-6. So Chapman Valley did kick a couple of late goals. So 12-12 to 8-6 in favour of the Demons.
Yeah, Valley really took it up to them, really, Glenn. So they are keen, probably a few games earlier on in the season that they wish that they didn't lose, but that game today, they certainly took it right up to the Demons and showed them that they are still a force to be reckoned with. But as I said, next week's game is mouth-watering to say the least. Yeah,
no, very, very interesting and very entertaining. Some big games coming up in the GNFL in the weeks to come, and you'll be able to hear all the action on Radio Mama, your home of GNFL footy, as Northampton go deep into attack again.
And it looks like it's that fella in Atkinson. He's evening up to get
Gives
one
it
of the
Tristan
players of
Taylor.
the day. But, yeah, Tristan Taylor got onto that one, Glenn. Very unlucky. And it shaved the post, or did it? It bounced in front of the post, actually. And
Still
it's
in
come out
play.
of the fence. It did.
Amazing.
It's on the far side now. As Northampton, I should say, Mullewa, they haven't stopped, Glenn, which is interesting.
They're a
Because
great side in that
they haven't,
regard.
dropped their heads.
They don't. They just keep going.
Because they are
Danichowski
relatively
brings it in.
young side, and it's marked by the veteran there and Kingsley Smith. Smith in turn gets it to Callum Teagle, the big fella straight down the middle. He sees the lead, and the lead's from Valetti. Valetti's outmarked on this occasion. Will he be able to get it from that passage of players? The ball hits the deck. Players diving on top of each other, and the siren sounds to announce that it is the end of our Dreadnought O'Malley game day here at Northampton. And it is, of course, the end, almost the end of round 7. A game still being played at Wanthella. But here at Northampton, it's all over. And we see that Northampton, big winners, 21-11, 137. That's a cricket score over Mullewa, 7-4-46. And you're listening to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.
You're listening to the GNFL Match of the Day. Thanks to our sponsors, Melissa Price MP and Grant Russell, Chartered Accountants. On Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.
relationship with Great Southern Fuels started with my father 50 years ago, delivering fuel in drums back in the day, which has progressed into large tanks now. They've been very reliable and efficient on time with service.
We run a mixed farming operation here on Chapman Valley, just north of Geraldton, managing about 5,500 hectares. We've been with what is now Great Southern Fuels for in excess of 20 years. There's always challenges and situations that catch you out, and they've been really, really good at accommodating that for us.
We've been with Great Southern for 28 years now. Look, they've given us exceptional service and they're price competitive. So it's wonderful.
They're a great company to work for. They're a family-owned business. They will support you and whatever is required.
I've got Alan's phone number, I've got Steve's phone number, and I know if I ring it I'll get an answer, which is really cool.
The relationship's great and the service is second to none. So I ring up and it doesn't matter if it's Saturday, Sunday or whenever I ring up, I'll have fuel. So we've never been held up or had a problem with them. So my theory is that's what I'm about. It's about service and the relationship, and it's been fantastic.
It's very important to maintain long-term customers' loyalty and give back what you can when you can.
Great Southern Fuels is one of the few companies that I've been involved with that gives so much back to the local community. We support so many different organisations and country, sporting clubs, field days, farming organisations.
We endeavour to give back. The community looked after us by dealing with us, and we just gave it back in what we could do. Footy club needs a hand, well, it's because they need a hand that you give it to, not the other way around.
When you look at how they conduct themselves in the community, they've been a great supporter of the Livestock Transporters Association. Just incredible what they do.
I do a lot for the community, which is good. And not only late race either, it's right through where all these outlets are all over the state. He's been excellent with that.
We tend to sponsor major events, the Great Southern Football Carnival, Colt Carnival.
Across the board, I think sponsorships are a very important part of any community. I grew up in Lake Grace and footy was my life down there for a long time. Great Southern sponsored Lake Grace back then, and along with many other footy clubs and hockey clubs and tennis clubs, and we might not always be making a big deal out of it, but the people that get sponsored, they understand and they relate to it.
They do a lot for the town, so I can't fault them. They've been brilliant.
Great Southern Fuels have got strong values, and that shows in what they do. They walk the talk and they do what they do.
You deal with people that are there and care about your business, and these people have been absolutely wonderful.
I'm very proud of what Mum and Dad have achieved in their life and how they've structured the business, and it's all structured around our customers and looking after people and being in the right areas where we need to sell the fuel and have the support there and sponsorship. Being part of the community, even though we're not in that community, but our workers are there and that's part of us.